What do I remember? Yeah.
Come on in, we're gonna play some games. They might be good, they might be lame. Never know without the Daisy Brigade.
Wow.
I drooled a little bit
That
on
was
that.
juicy, and actually I'm kind of disturbed.
Come on in, we're gonna play some games. They might be good, they might be lame. Never know without the Daisy Brigade.
Welcome back to the Daisy Brigade.
Hey-o.
Hey-o, baby.
That box of Kleenexes?
Yes, I brought down Kleenexes, Hunter. I'm a sick boy.
No, I just wanted you to move it so I could see.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
So Hunter,
It's
Happy New Year. Happy new decade.
It's the new decade.
This is weird, right?
And a year. It is weird. I agree.
It's
Time
weird.
is weird, but
Time is weird. I
Whole
feel
nother-
like at the end of the last decade, I was just beginning to get a sense of what time was.
You never do.
Because I was but a young teen. I was an old teen when the last decade ended. But I was,
Can you be an old teen?
you certainly can.
Aren't you just a teen still?
I don't know. 13 seems pretty young.
Wow.
18 seems a lot older than 13, looking back.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Point being, so welcome to the new decade. It's 2020, baby.
Yeah, we've got that 2020 vision, and it just hit up for me, and so I'm gonna lose immediately.
And Hunter's doing good. Okay, so I told Hunter this off screen. I thought today could be a little bit of fun. So like I said, it's our first, I don't know if I said that. It's our first recording session of the new year.
Oh, and yeah, it is. And
Of the new
I don't know if you
decade.
said it either, but it is.
I thought it might be fun for the Daisy Boys to do a little walk down memory lane.
Yeah,
And-
we're gonna try it.
So I have compiled, with the help of a friend of the show, a list of things that happened in the tens, teens. I don't know what. That's like a weird thing for that decade, right?
Yeah, what to call it?
What was it called? The same thing with the decade before, like the thousands or the aughts, or I
I
prefer.
think they called it thoughts.
I prefer the ooze myself, but
Ooh.
nobody else has ever called it that.
No one has.
But I'm glad we're in the 20s. Like we have like a recognizable like moniker for it.
Yeah.
It's a little weird to.
Everybody's just going to the Roaring 20s feel again, though, and it's like,
Well, I for one am excited for the financial collapse. It's gonna happen in the next year and a half.
brewing. Oh.
Point being, I think it's cool that we're in a decade that's identifiable for the first time since I was like 9 and it was the 90s.
Yeah, for sure.
Point being, I have put together a list. So we're playing Tetris. Thank you for joining us. Hunter might play a couple of episodes this time because I'm gonna be
Jim's gonna be narrating.
I'm gonna be
the
narrating this
decade.
list, and I'm gonna be bouncing things off Hunter.
Yeah,
and
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
be
see,
trying to keep up.
and we're gonna see how he plays. Okay, so Hunter,
Jim.
let's set the scene. It's 2009. It's about to be 2010.
Okay.
I am a senior in high school. You are a junior.
Graduated in 11.
Yes.
So yeah.
Don't worry, Hunter. I've done this math.
Okay.
beforehand.
Thank you. I'm glad you thought of this.
It is 2009. So let me just recap all of the 2000s for you.
Perfect. I love to hear it.
Okay, so
This is elementary school.
W. Bush won the election.
Who'd he beat? Al Gore.
Al Gore.
I beat you to it.
W. Bush won the election. 9/11. We went to
Third
war.
grade.
Bush lied.
I was in 3rd grade when that happened.
Christina Aguilera released a naughty single. Everybody bullied Britney Spears.
That's when she shaved her head and everything, right?
She did. She had a mental
2007-ish?
breakdown. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm
2000
jumping around, Hunter.
I just
Can
want
I recap the decade, please?
Please, yeah, absolutely. I just want to follow along.
Okay. I will ask for audience participation.
Okay, Jim's recapping.
I'm recapping. Okay, so we went to war. Bush lied. People died. Britney Spears got bullied. YouTube was invented.
What year was that?
What?
What year was that?
YouTube?
Yeah,
2006.
Was it 2006?
2007 is, I think, when it kind of became a thing.
Okay. Because I remember watching like Numa Numa and the.
Well, that was on like Newgrounds and shit like that. Numa Numa was Newgrounds or E-Bomb's World or there was like there was like 5 different ones you could have gone to at the time.
Yeah, most definitely.
Let's see what else happened in the thousands. The Democrats had full control of the House in 2008. Barack Obama took over, swept into power. Financial collapse, bailed out the banks, didn't jail any bankers. Occupy Wall Street. The Tea Party Revolution. Let's see what else happened in the thousands. David Bowie released his last great record. I know, right? That set the stage for everything.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a whole fucking thing.
It was. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, that was the split. That's the reason the president, our big wet president, is here because of that.
Fuck me, Jim.
Hunter.
I was doing so well. That was a Tetris, too.
Okay, Tegan and Sarah blew up. Vampire Weekend. Quick hitters. Mark Wahlberg, no longer a hate crime. And there you go. That was the 2000s.
That was
so
the whole...
I've caught you up through that decade to 2010.
Wow, thanks for the real quick recap.
Hell yeah. Okay, so here is, as I said, a number of personally curated moments of the tens, teens, whatever the fuck we're calling the last decade. That trash decade. Okay, so in October of 2010, Instagram was created.
Oh boy.
Took over the world.
I've never had an Instagram.
Me neither.
Just not a thing I got into.
Me neither.
I don't like pictures though. That's a weird thing about me.
Oh, hold on. A friend of the show is calling. I'll call him back. 2011 Snapchat debut.
Wow, yeah, quick after.
Quick after. I remember that coming out and being like all anybody did for a little while.
Yeah, there was a lot of that stuff that I really missed out on. Like, I mean, I had a Twitter, but it took me a while to get a Snapchat because it took me a while to get a smartphone.
I think it took me a while to do all of that because I have a natural predilection to just question everything.
Sure, this is really quick, and I'm having a really hard time.
You're okay, Hunter.
Flight of the Bumblebee!
Hell yeah! Nick Cannon, baby! Okay, woo! You're dead. Okay, in January 2010...
10th, baby!
The first FaceTime.
Really?
Yeah.
2010?
2010.
Interesting.
3 years after the iPhone, they made the Jetsons dream and reality. Video calls.
Yeah.
On a phone.
Interesting.
Crazy, right? Like, that's like future tech. Like,
yeah, no, absolutely.
That would have been mind-boggling to be like 60 and like...
It still kind of is mind-boggling.
It still is. I agree. And I remember Skyping people in like 2008. I remember Skyping my brother when he was overseas.
I do remember like the era of Skype where they
you had to buy a webcam. Yeah,
exactly. They thought they were going to be like the hot shit, and then everybody was like...
And Google paid like $500 million for a dead company that literally does nothing.
It does nothing now. I mean, like business conference calls. It's like the you can still every once in a while.
Who even uses that? Everybody just uses Cisco.
Yeah, I know.
Cisco has a better business rate.
All right, I know. It's not good. I'm
sorry.
I'm not trying to make a case for it.
Okay, so that was third on my thing. April 2010. So we're talking 4 months later.
Very early, yeah.
First iPad. What a gamble.
The real biggin.
The fucking iPad.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody uses fucking iPads anymore. Who does that? Well, I mean, you know, they all have the flip down.
Amy does. College students.
That's crazy. I never had one.
My dad and my mom used an iPad.
I never liked the pad. I always thought it was dumb.
I had an iTouch.
I guess maybe because I went straight from a flip phone to an iPhone. I always thought that was dumb because I had a computer and an iPhone. I was like, I don't need to combine these things.
Exactly, I don't need that.
There's no reason. I understand where people are coming from now. We did get that great period of time for like 3 years where all the old people got them and they would take like selfies and pictures
of their
faces. And you'd see them. Like I remember fucking Barack Obama. Like you could see him taking pictures of his family with a big ass iPad, and I'm like, baby, you're the president of the United States of America. Why do you only have an iPad? Like,
it's the best they can afford.
Get a Canon camera, baby. You have access to every secret that's ever existed. You know the aliens exist, and you're using a fucking iPad.
He knows that information.
Crazy stuff to me, baby. Okay, so that was kind of the end of my of the ones where I timestamped them.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna.
Everything else is just knowledgeable.
Everything else is just kind of knowledge.
Okay.
Okay. The earthquake in Haiti.
That was
Thousands of people died.
Yeah.
2011.
Yeah.
2012, somewhere around there.
I feel like there were quite a few big natural disasters.
That's pretty much what I have written down is natural disasters and how big they got. I mean, you can look back to Katrina, and that feels like maybe it's because that's how old I was. So, and maybe that's why it stands out to me, like Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah. Well, I just
because that was the first big one that happened in my lifetime.
Exactly, that you could really remember.
That I could really remember.
Yeah.
And it feels like they happen every day. I mean, look at Australia right now. Look at, you can look at Jakarta. Jakarta, like 150 people died because of flooding this year.
Yeah, I mean, we hear about them more. Is really what it comes down to.
I don't know. No, I definitely think it's picked up. Like don't be ridiculous. Look at look at weather patterns. Well,
correct, but I'm not.
Every year is the hottest year on record and the coldest winter on record for a reason.
I know. I'm not saying that.
All that's happening.
Yes.
Point being, natural disasters. I mean, and you can look at the hurricanes.
It's hard to articulate my points when you talk over me, and I'm also.
I'm sorry, Hunter. You know I like to talk over you.
I know it's just difficult when I'm trying to do three things.
And I appreciate you humoring me doing this.
Absolutely. No, I'm very much so interested in it because honestly, I forget everything that's happened.
But like the hurricanes from 2017. I mean, you can look at Superstorm Sandy. You can look at the fact that California literally had a drought from 2001 till last year.
I was gonna say California's been on fire for all of
our entire lives.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got a whole episode about water rights. We'll do eventually.
Water rights. Okay.
I know that'll be a sexy episode. Everybody will love hearing that.
Very excited.
I'm gonna keep moving on.
Yeah,
okay.
Hit me with a fact.
Okay. Here's a bummer. Sandy Hook. That's a thing that happened.
Ooh.
One of the saddest days ever.
Wow,
in
we're gonna jump into
history.
things that happen frequently.
That's like a fucking. That felt like the beginning. I don't know. To me, maybe it's because I was like 20 and like that was the. Because Columbine happened and all those things.
Was that the
happened.
first? When was?
But that was like the first one where kids.
When was definitely
like little kids and it was a major national story.
Was Aurora?
Aurora
Before
was.
That? Or after that?
I think it was a little after that because I think Aurora was 2013.
It was whenever The Dark Knight came out.
It was 2013 then. Okay. Yeah, Sandy Hook was like 2011,
okay.
2012.
What is up with the button today?
Not to those things, to the button. Like gun violence has become so prevalent. I think we've really become like kind of satirized to it.
Oh yeah.
Or sanitized to it, I mean.
Desensitized?
Like there you go. That's the word I'm looking for.
Oh, like, for sure. I don't even bat an eye when you shoot.
Like, because I remember in our home city, the Von Mar shooting.
Yeah.
And like that's all anybody talked about for a month.
Oh, for sure.
I remember watching the news, like they would do a story every day about that for like a month.
Yeah.
And now there's like Hunter.
Dude, what is up with this game?
Well, I'm distracting you. I'm distracting you.
In the button, I'm not hitting up, but it drops the up, it hits.
Oh.
That one I hit because I'm a moron.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. That's like a weird thing that's happened in the past decade. Like, it's just become so commonplace.
Oh yeah.
That we're all so just like oh well, a bunch of people died. Like, well, we'll get with the times. Like that's gonna happen tomorrow. I don't know. Weird thing. That's a thing that happened in that decade.
Yeah.
While we lived. Yeah, dude. Like mass shootings, they just don't matter anymore.
They're just
Nobody
like
gives a shit.
Yeah.
We all get together, and then sometimes kids have a rally, and like that's it. That's the whole bit.
Do you have any fun things on this list?
I do. They're coming up.
Okay.
The royal wedding. The first royal wedding.
Wow, let me tell you about things I don't care about.
William and Kate.
Let me tell you about things I don't care
Hunter,
about.
go ahead.
It would be royal weddings.
Well, I've got a little bit more royal wedding trivia coming up.
I'm so excited.
I don't actually. I don't really give a shit about royal weddings.
I just don't understand why.
Full disclosure, my family, my half my family is full British. I'm first generation on that side. I do not give a shit about royal weddings.
I don't understand why everybody cares so much.
Because other people have royalty, Hunter, and like that's a thing. They don't just have celebrity. Well, they do have celebrities, but
I just don't understand why it matters. They don't do anything, right? They're just figureheads.
Kind of. They have
then
like a very limited amount of constitutional power.
Then what the fuck is the
in the
point?
case of whatever. Point being, William and Kate.
Oh, in the case of the government, was to be like,
yeah, if everything went to
horrible.
shit. Technically, I don't think the UK has a constitution.
Okay.
They, like a written one. They just have like case. It's basically just all case law.
okay,
Like that's how their legal system works.
all right.
And well, because I think it was the Good Friday. No, that's the IRA one. There was some agreement in like the 1700s where they were like, kings and queens, they don't just run shit anymore. Like we have parliament, and we're gonna do this. But they never wrote it down and like wrote it into law. So I think technically royalty could just be like, eat shit, like I own everything, but they don't anymore. I don't 100% know.
Okay, I'm guaranteed.
Point being, I do stan my princess, Meghan Markle. Suits forever. Stop bullying Meghan. Okay, onwards and
This
upwards.
is way more difficult than I thought it was. Gonna be.
Celebrity death. Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher died.
Carrie Fisher died. Yeah, that was more recent.
That was more recent. 2016, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
Died the day after her mother.
Yes. How strange.
Yeah, what a sad thing.
Yeah.
That
Lots of celebrity deaths in the last decade.
There's lots of celebrity deaths every decade. I
Well,
could bring up a list.
Yeah, well, I guess who are some notable ones?
I didn't look any of those up.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams was this last decade.
George Carlin died. No, George Carlin died in 2008.
Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain did take his own life, and that's very sad.
Chester Bennington.
Yeah, we've talked about that one before. I don't know. I used to do a death pool, but I haven't done it in 2 years now. Mostly because I forgot to enter this year, and I didn't think about it.
It's a bad reason.
I didn't
for
think
not
about it
being
till like
in
10 o'clock, and I was like, I was kind of drunk, and I was like, I'm not looking it up on New Year's.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for that.
Okay, so let me keep going.
Okay.
The Cubs won the World Series.
They did.
160 years, something like that.
Yes, that was also.
I was very bummed out. Fuck the Rickett family. I wish them nothing but the worst.
They're
and
horrible people.
I hope they burn in agony. Okay, so also 2011, Siri.
That's the first showing of Siri.
First showing the Siri. Because it debuted with the iPhone 4S, which is the first iPhone I had, which is why I remembered that.
All right. I did not remember the exact.
It might have been the 4. I had the 4S. I think it was the 4.
I had a 5, but it was way late.
I had a 4S right after it came out, so I think it was 4. But point being, it was like 2011. What a weird thing that life
cool.
just didn't have that.
Talk to your phone.
When you wanted to know what song was playing, you had to download an app called Shazam and hold it up to a speaker. You couldn't just be like, "What is this?"
Yeah, you had to
Or
figure it out.
Yeah, or if you wanted to say, "Oh, well, I want a countdown for 25 seconds," you'd have to fucking put that in your phone. And that was still a relatively new technology. Weird thing.
Oh, fuck.
It's been 8 years, and we're so used to those kind of technologies that people will literally put microphones in their house, like Alexa or Siri, and just not even think about the consequences. Not even think about what could be going on with that technology, despite the fact that those tech companies consistently lie about what they put into those technologies. Whatever, I'm getting off. I've got a list. 2016, Colin Kaepernick can't get a job in the NFL. Led a team to a Super Bowl 2 years earlier. Kneels down.
Yeah.
Becomes a big political issue. Helps get Donald Trump elected. What a weird thing to happen. He's just a quarterback. Throws footballs.
It is strange how much that was like.
That was like a big fucking deal for like 9 months.
Yeah, like that was like the
And who thinks
ideology.
about it anymore?
No,
like
nobody.
when's the last time you gave a shit about a guy kneeling?
Yeah.
The taxpayers paid over $1 million to fly the vice president to one of those games where those players were kneeling, and then he just left.
Yeah, he did.
And that was it. That was the whole bit.
Do you remember that?
Just to fire up voters. That's all it was, and get the people moving.
It's a stunt, my dude.
What a weird thing. Okay, it's on my list. I'm keeping going. Jerry Sandusky.
Ooh, that's
One of the
dark one.
grisliest
Didn't you
stories
say
in American
fun
sports.
things were on the list?
I've got a couple more fun things.
Okay, all right, you're fine. We can go back to the Sandusky.
I've got a couple more fun things. I remember that being fucking weird because I was really into college football at that time.
Yeah, you were.
I was like a big college football fan.
Well, and
I remember that being like a bummer because I remember HBO Sports because I lived with my parents at the time. They did a big like inside story on how it happened and like what the whole deal was.
Yeah, it was a humongous story.
And like that like rocked college sports, that like that had happened on people's watch.
Yeah.
And this beloved coach had been
I was gonna say,
complicit in all this
I was gonna
shit.
say, and the Joe Pop part.
Exactly. Yeah, this guy who was one of the probably the 5 most important coaches in college football history.
Yeah, it's supposed to
like
be this
one
real
of those
stand-up
guys.
kind of guy, you know.
Yeah, like stayed home, never took another job, coached there for 50 years.
Yeah.
And like it turned out he was kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Who was just like let a dude just molest children. What a shitty thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on. So I've got a combination, Me Too and Weinstein. What a weird thing to have happened. Like finally shedding light on that industry and like empowering people.
Yeah.
As hard as it is, empowering people to speak up about sexual harassment in the workplace and how like that's like an issue that like people think about now. And I think I was partly complicit in that kind of thing. Like I would see, you know, shitty dudes hitting on girls that I work with and being like, well, I don't want to be that weird guy.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fully changed at all, even close. But I think we moved it in the conversation.
It's being talked about.
At least, yeah, people feel slightly, you know, and it's still obviously very difficult, but people feel slightly more empowered, specifically young women, and you know, more power to you.
Yeah,
We always need more allies, and you know, good people will support you. But that was a weird thing that happened because it kind of brought down a lot of Hollywood. Like for like a minute, and then everybody stopped caring because there were millions of dollars to be made. But
Yeah.
there were some people who actually faced consequences for that, and that's a good thing, I think. Probably in the long run, like at least it happened.
Yes.
Hopefully things get better. Okay, Game of Thrones.
Never watched it. Never really watched it.
Game of Thrones was huge. I remember.
Okay, then we'll just drop that there.
I don't remember hearing about it until at least the second season, so probably like 2011, 2012.
Okay.
The first episode I watched was the Red Wedding, which is like the big episode.
Yeah, I never got to the Red Wedding.
People who have not watched the series are like, oh yeah, I know that episode because all my friends talked about it for like
Correct.
3 weeks.
It's the only thing anybody can talk about.
Exactly. It was like a huge fucking deal based on historical fact. It's loosely based off some story that happened in England in like 1200s or something. I'm still going. The Fappening.
The Fappening.
Remember that? Remember when every newscaster in America had to go on television and say the word fap?
Yeah, dude.
And how funny that was and how shitty it was that about the situation they were doing it?
Yes.
I remember being very conflicted to be like, wow, these poor young people in their privacy. But also, all these like professionally trained journalists have to say the word fap on television.
Yeah.
Very funny to me. I don't know.
A little bit of comedy. For
I was
you.
just thinking, you know, it's a bit of a mixed bag there. Let's see. Do you know that robot doll that talks?
The robot doll that talks. I got 7th.
Nice job on your.
Sorry, I was definitely zoning out at that point because I was getting in the top 10. Flight of the Bumblebees.
There's that robot doll. It'll like have a conversation with you.
The one that they made.
Yeah, she's like bald.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember.
I forget.
what her
I can't think.
name
I couldn't
was.
think of what her name was, and I forgot to look it up.
No, that's
but
okay.
like.
I do remember that. You remember when Watson played on
When
Jeopardy?
Watson I have that on here too. When Watson played Jeopardy, and I was thinking, wow,
Yeah,
like what a
that's fucking
step
wild.
up! Like now they have it can kind of think and feel and
Well,
like express. I mean, it's obviously
most definitely
it's
can.
obviously through a program, and it's very like scripted and that stuff. But like
It's AI,
it can
dude.
have like actual like
It's artificial
humanish
intelligence.
emotions. What a crazy thing!
Artificial intelligence is cool as fuck.
It is not. It's terrifying.
It is
as
terrifying,
fuck.
I agree. It's
And
gonna
I
learn-
think we should end that right now.
It's gonna learn that it's better than us for sure quickly. But anyway, I digress.
Well, first rules of robotics: you just got to program that in. Can't harm a human.
Wow, yeah, I understand that, but it's intelligent.
Yeah, and we'll give it that intelligence. You don't harm humans. Rule number 1.
Yeah, but if it's sentient, it can come to that decision by itself.
Well, I don't want it to have to come to that decision. I don't want it weighing those options.
Okay, whatever. This is a talk we can get into.
Talk we can get into. Okay.
So Watson on Jeopardy was the last thing that we said.
Deepwater Horizon.
What's that one?
That was the BP spill.
Oh, all right. I thought,
You know, the
wasn't
one
there
that-
a movie?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg did the movie.
Oh, okay.
They dumped like 45 million gallons of oil
in the Gulf.
into the Gulf.
That was this decade?
Yeah, it was like 2011.
It was early, for sure.
It was definitely early. Like, devastated the entire
that's true.
economy of the Gulf. Did
trying to-
irreparable harm.
It's really shitty that I'm trying to, like, link it back to South Park episodes that I would watch. But, like, I do. I remember...
No, I totally get that.
You know what I mean? Because that's what they always did, satires of
current
current
events.
especially around that time. So, yeah.
Yeah, that one, the nuclear fallout in, what was it, Nagasaki?
Fukushima.
Yeah, the Fukushima nuclear
I remember writing a
destruction.
paper about that.
Did you? I remember I was in college, my freshman year. I was in a biology class, and our biology teacher, right after it happened, he went and he did like 3 days on what nuclear fallout does to natural environments.
That's crazy.
It was fucked up, Hunter. It was
dude.
awful.
It's the same thing it does to humans, but we just leave.
Well, yeah, and also it's way longer lasting, and they just spread out because most of the fish don't die; they're just radioactive.
Correct.
And then they mate and they sterilize populations.
Yeah, and then you lose whole species.
And then you lose and you lose an entire generation of a species. You're lucky if some of them didn't get that.
For sure. Well, and then I mean, how long is the ground
And
irradiated?
well, and not even that,
and
and the seaweed and the drift and all the trash just floating out into the ocean.
Yeah, dude.
That's gonna infect more animals. I remember reading a story about that shortly after. They were like predicting, it was probably like Bloomberg or something like that. They were like, in a year and a half, some of that radioactive trash is going to wash up on California. I don't know why they had that accent, but that's how I remember reading it.
Hey, I beat Satoshi.
Hey, nice job.
Is that the real Satoshi?
Yeah, probably.
Creator of Bitcoin?
Sure,
You should be looking for him. He's got 2...
I don't think he's real. I read a story about how that's not a real
somebody
thing.
was Satoshi.
Right, but Satoshi's not one person. It's like a collective.
Well, and that's what...
There's no actual Satoshi. I have done that. I read that story. Another thing that happened in this decade.
Unless you're Craig Wright and you think that you are, but you're not. Anyway.
Sure. Another thing, Bitcoin happened in that decade.
It most definitely did. It happened.
I bought in early.
It started to get big right around the time of the...
financial collapse?
Yeah, the financial collapse and the...
I remember hearing about it in 2010.
The Occupy Wall Street movement.
I didn't buy it till the next year, but I remember hearing about it.
It started to get big around
online.
that time, and then it just recently, obviously, exploded.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years ago now. But yeah, okay, Hunter, that's all I had. That was my whole Thousands retrospective.
That was a fucking depressing list, Jim.
It was a shit decade.
We didn't have much fun things on
Garbage
there at all.
happened.
Yeah, but good things happened too.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about like Pete Davidson or something? He had a fun couple of years.
No, I don't want to talk about Pete Davidson.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Lady Gaga wore a meat dress.
That also happened this last decade?
I'm pretty sure it was either that or 2009. I have trouble remembering at this point.
Let's see. In this decade,
What? Yeah.
Let's see. I graduated from high school.
Yeah. Me too.
I went to 4 years of undergrad, but never graduated.
I did 3 years.
And now I have a doctorate, which is a weird bit of...
I do not.
I went to 3 different schools in the decade.
Hell yeah. I went to 2 different schools and didn't graduate from any of them.
What about the Wildcats?
I did not do well there.
Did you leave?
I did.
When? Did that count as one of your... Is that one of
Yeah, it was a whole semester.
Did you count that in your number of schools that you went to?
I did.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thank you for knowing who I was talking about.
I did.
I didn't want to just say it.
No, Hunter, I knew exactly what you were talking about. I like to block that period out, but, it is a thing that happened to me.
Yes, it is.
It was a weird 5 months.
Yeah.
And that feels like a lifetime ago.
I'm just not doing well.
Because it was 10 years. That was 10 years ago, and this fall, I guess. 9 years ago, but...
It does feel like a really long time.
It was a long time ago. I mean, hell, I forgot to bring up, we killed Osama bin Laden a decade ago.
Yeah.
I believe that was like February 18th, 2010.
Was it 2010 when Osama died?
It was 2011. It was 2011. Because I was at the City College, and I was taking a mass media class, and he came in with the paper and slapped it down like it meant anything. Like, congrats, good job. He got exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
And we killed him like 10 years later because some guy drove him up in a trunk, probably.
And after we wasted millions and millions.
And got
billions,
thousands of
billions.
people killed.
Yeah.
Fun things that happened in the decade. We're brainstorming now. This is probably the last Tetris we're gonna do, Hunter.
Yeah, I'm fucking.
And Hunter's been
with
killing
that,
it all
mate.
day. You got 2 top 10 finishes.
I did get 2 top 10 finishes. We need to talk more and let me not think about what's going on. It either ends in absolute disaster, or it ends in a top 10 finish.
A top 10 finish.
So.
And maybe next time we will think of some fun things. But I hope you enjoyed that. I was very excited about this. It's a new decade. It's the first new decade where I'm an adult. I'm gonna be an adult the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I was thinking about this today, and I thought that was very strange.
Interesting way to put it.
Because I became an adult legally right before the start of this decade. So it was like this weird 10-year bubble where things just slowly got realer and realer, and I was wicked depressed for a solid chunk of it.
Yeah.
And now I'm on the other side, and I'm looking at the next decade, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be like well into midlife, assuming I survive.
Most definitely.
Like well into my midlife. And I guess that's weird. It's a weird circling feeling. Because I've lived through 2 decades now. 3 decades now? 3 decades, technically.
Yeah.
No, this will be my 4th decade. 90s, 1000s, 10s, 20s. So we are in the 4th decade of my life.
Our life.
Our lives, yes, you are correct, Hunter. You were also alive for
93.
all of that time.
So not all of it. But...
I was almost 5. My brother's lived through 5 decades, which is weird to think. That's like a crazy concept. And I guess the passage of time. When we got to this decade that just passed, the passage of time didn't feel real because I was still kind of in that childhood bubble.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh well, it's like 3 months, like that's like forever. And now I think of it like 3 months, like that's gonna be here before tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
Like
blink an eye in 3 months.
What are you talking about? Like 3 months is nothing.
Yeah.
I got 60 years to worry about.
For sure.
And I guess that's one of the
anything.
weird things that's happened this decade is like becoming an adult and learning what the real world is like and the experiences that I've had. Lots of good, lots of bad.
Yeah.
And
I've been in school basically this whole time.
And I
This is
haven't.
gonna be
I
my
haven't
first-
for most of it.
It's gonna be my first decade not in school.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Which
think
is
of how.
kinda
Yeah. This is your first
tight.
decade in the workforce
Yeah.
solely. I've been in the workforce for most of last decade.
But I've been waiting for this for a while.
This is true. Yeah. You didn't meander quite as much as I did.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that in the past decade. I didn't like that decade. I'll be honest, the teens or the tens or whatever the fuck we're calling it. I'm glad it's over. I don't give a shit about that decade. It was mostly garbage. We got a couple of decent things out of it, and I'm hoping that the roaring 20s aren't gonna repeat.
Jesus Christ. Well, we're gonna have financial collapse within the next
For sure, the next 2 years.
2 years. So.
But my hope is that we as a people will not respond the way we did last time. We're not going to put false hope and false idols. We're not going to abandon the poor and the downtrodden. At this time, we're going to build
depression.
If that's what it takes. Honestly, at this point, we've fucked around for so long with nonsense. And
burn it to the ground.
I don't know, Hunter. I guess I'm hopeful. I guess
burn it.
No.
okay.
That this is going to be a good decade because I didn't.
I'm glad.
I guess I was ambivalent last decade because I didn't really think about long-term issues. So
Yeah.
I remember it turning.
I still don't. So I'm kind of in that mindset still.
I guess I just feel hope because I want to be here now, as opposed to just existing without thought.
All
And
right.
so this decade, I'll say it, I would like to end it happier than I did the last one.
It's a lofty goal. So.
It is. I mean, if you know me, it's not that lofty.
Wow. Okay, but it's a lofty goal for anybody to make the decision that they would like to be happy.
10 years, that's 10 years down the road. Who knows what's going to happen? But I'll be honest,
I
I'm
want to
glad.
be an astronaut by the end of this next decade.
I don't think it's going to happen, bud.
Why is that? You gotta have a STEM degree. I've looked into it.
I mean, I believe in you.
I have a STEM degree. Could I not be the first space pharmacist? It's gonna be necessary eventually, folks.
I believe in you
I'll
so
be an
much.
astronaut. Hit me up, NASA.
Yeah.
I can still do calculus.
I'm hopeful for this decade.
For sure, dude.
It's gonna be like an important one. Like, this is a big one. This decade. For all of humanity. This is like a vastly more important one than last decade. Because shit's getting real in the world.
Hitting the fan.
Kind of. And I'm interested to see where it goes. I'm interested to see where I go. I'm so glad that we got to stay friends throughout this entire thing. And I'm so glad we did this, and we get to ring in a whole decade of this, hopefully.
Bring on 10 years of the Daisy Brigade.
Hell yeah,
Daisy
baby.
Brigade, 10 years.
Lives forever.
10 plus years.
Thank you so much for joining us.
100 episodes, Daisy Brigade.
We are almost at 100 episodes.
Yeah, we're already at 100 episodes.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know this got a little heavy at times.
There was some dark moments.
A little bit dark, but I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed talking about this with you.
Yeah, we need to dig up some happier things, and we'll do a Daisy Brigade does a happy
The
decade.
next episode will be a much happier one, just in terms of what we're talking about. Thank you so much for joining us. Please give us a like or subscribe if you like this. This is not normally what it's like.
I mean, check out our other content too.
Check that out first
before you make any decisions, any rash decisions based on fear.
Like I said, we appreciate it. It's a late night for us, so we're gonna go ahead and sign off here. Goodbye.